Hello, hello, and welcome once again. J76NY here, and we are into chapter number 3, the second half of the first term of President Anton Rayne in Swordland. We have managed to make a few improvements to Swordland over the course of our playthrough here. Unfortunately, the economy is not one of them. My unemployment is ridiculously high. The H1, or the highway project, didn't have the level of effect that we were expecting it to have. So now, in the last episode, we made our intentions clear going forward. We're going to be focusing strictly on the economy. And in this episode, we're going to be going to some trade talks with Valgsland and Lespia, which is going to lead to a tough decision that we're going to have to make in terms of who we ally ourselves with and give preferential treatment to. I believe, if I remember correctly, one of them would give us a better standing militarily. The other one would give us a better standing economically. With Rumburg up here posturing and probable war breaking out over here, we're going to have to choose carefully. Like I said, I'm leaning towards Lespia because they are a republic. So I think it's Lespia that's the republic. That's parliamentary republic, yep. So I'm leaning towards Lespia to kind of keep our economic interest in line. But if Lockhaven is the one that's offering, or not Lockhaven, but Valgsland's the one that's offering the more economic beneficial trade agreement, then we may have to go with them. So let's actually take Valgsland first. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this game, if you're new to the series, this is a text-based political simulator, choose-your-own-adventure role-playing type of game where you're giving a series of choices, and each one of those choices affects the direction of the story. Developers of the game put a lot of work into creating a backstory and a whole little world here, and they deserve all the credit in the world because I wasn't really I didn't really know what to expect when I started a text-based game. I'm mostly into war games, and I'm really enjoying this playthrough, even if things aren't always going according to plan. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy Suzerain. I kind of think of it as me reading a book to you. Midnight was approaching when our delegation boarded SRS Wholesword. The large ship was once the royal yacht of King Egmont himself. By the order of Sol, it was repurposed to serve the leaders of Swordland for state visits. We departed from the port of Lockhaven, along with a few other small escort boats. I entered the luxurious compartments reserved for the heads of state. I laid down on the bed to rest my eyes before we arrived at Woburn, a major city in Valgsland. The Markian Sea was known for its treacherous waters. However, the trip so far had been rather calm and quiet. I couldn't sleep. I went out onto the upper deck to have some fresh air. Sea breeze brought a salty and briny smell. I saw David leaning over the railing, looking at the horizon, and I decided to join him. He is my foreign affairs advisor. Mr. President, I'm surprised you are still up this late. I can't sleep. Some of these choices, they probably don't have a whole lot of effect, but a lot of them do, so we're going to go with that. It's just sometimes good to let out some thoughts. Are you always worried about the future all the time? Or I said it's nothing. I'm not going to get snappy with the guy. I think he was also one of my professors in university, so Looking back on things, I think it would have been a little wiser of a choice to listen to what he advised. But I decided to go my own route, and this is the result. I am an old man, Mr. President. I've been alive for more than 70 years. I spent most of those years worrying about various things, endlessly. What I realized in my time was that worrying is simply a part of life. As the mankind, we are forever gullible. We always think about reaching out for what we don't have. And a part of what we don't have are the choices we could have made and their results. Seems like he read my mind. Silently watch the horizon. I'm pretty sure that was a dig on me ignoring his advice sometime. And he's going to go off to sleep, and he's going to recommend I do the same. Good idea. So I went back to my compartment to sleep. The dawn arrived and our ship moored at the busy port of Wilburn. Among the usual flashes from cameras, we made our way to the train station in a convoy where we took the train to Hallam for an uneventful trip. We arrived at the central station of Hallam, the capital city of Valgsland. There were an incredible amount of people waiting for us. I stepped out of the train and immediately flashes went off. Our delegation met with various members of the Valgslandian cabinet. We took the cars and arrived at the Royal Palace. Flags of Valgsland and CSP were waving next to the entrance. Assistants took my belongings, led me to the museum wing. It was there I saw Chancellor Hagel. He was inspecting a very large painting on the wall. Chancellor? He turned around. He was a man of small stature, with a balding spot and striking visage. His famous pipe was in his mouth. He briefly scanned me from head to toe. We shook hands and he stared me down. Mr. Rayne, welcome to Valgsland. Thank you. He gestured towards the painting. This was made in 1776 by the famous Valgslandian painter Otto Keyburn. I looked at the painting. It must have been over 5 meters tall. It was a battle scene. On the left side, there were banners carried by Vogs, and on the right, swords. Uh-oh. Countless spears formed a triangle at the center, and the sky was red from the blood. What do you think about it? I think that we have come far. After all, we are standing here side by side instead of a battlefield. Nothing, it's just a painting, or it's a reminder. One misstep and we're back to painting the world with more blood. It seems a little... We'll go with the first one here. We can do so much more through unity. However, not everybody wants that. We started walking. I have been watching your rule so far with worry. You accepted an Arcasian offer and sold your sovereignty by letting them build bases. You banned the legal organizations in your country like Red Youth. You started privatizing your economy and sold state assets to make the rich even richer. Your actions are clear as the day. Now here's those choices that are going to have a very, very harsh impact on the way the story goes. My hand was forced when I made those decisions, or Swordland concerns are Swordlands alone. I don't answer to you. I'm going to go with the hopefully less inflammatory one. He frowns. I sincerely hope you understand that the world doesn't work that way anymore, Mr. Rayne. Perhaps in the past, but not anymore. Listen, Mr. Rayne, you have come here for a trade deal. Then let's talk about your deal and we can call it a day. He obviously doesn't like me. I could tell him to stick it and leave. I expect nothing more. Want to hear what he says. Here's what I'm proposing. I have no qualms about what has been negotiated so far. Swordish tungsten in return for Valgsland's hard-earned money. It's a good deal, really. No, my problem is not the deal itself. My problem is you, Mr. Rayne. It is... he really doesn't like me. It's with how you lead Swordland. You don't have to like me to trade with me. This is heading south pretty quick. Says I can make your life harder. Let me tell you this, Mr. Rayne. A trade deal between Valgsland and Swordland is possible. Let's hear it. What do you want? What I want is simple. Recognize Helgeland as Valgslandian territory, and I'm ready to sit on the table. Helgeland is this little island here. They are squabbling with Agnolia over control of this island, so I'm not really sure if I want to side with them in their military let's see, what are you after? Is that a yes or a no? How about you answer my question? God damn. Either I do it or I don't. And what impact is that going to have with, Let's take a look at Agnolia for a second here. Merchant nation located in northeast Mercopia along the Mercian Sea, mastering collected ships. They're introverted. We have good relationships with them. They're a parliamentary republic with a weak military. Gonna have to go with no on this. Suit yourself. Have a safe trip back home. He turned around and walked away, leaving me alone in the empty halls of the royal palace. Away we go. Well, Lespia, hopefully you can come along for the ride here. After a long whistle, Maroon train slowly started to move. This train had been in service for many years. It had 9 locomotives with special quarters and an office. As the name implied, it was painted with a bright maroon color. Among the flashes and cheers, we departed from Holsword Central train station. Our destination was Perla, the capital of Lespia. The historic route we were using was also called the Southern Express. We passed through the Lespian mountain range to the lowlands with a short stop at the beautiful Saria Nueva, where Lespia security forces joined us. Looking outside the window, the difference of wealth between Valgsland and Saria Nueva was extraordinary. I heard a knock on my door, and it was Simon, who is my Minister of Economy. Have a seat, Simon. I wanted to have a quick chat about Prime Minister Alvarez and give you a heads up. There have been some rumors about his demeanor in public appearances. What did he do? He is known to have met with other state leaders while intoxicated on various occasions. Some even call him an alcoholic. Something that could affect our trade deal? And I don't know. He handed me a newspaper. The headline was circling over Stallport. This happened just yesterday. Apparently he was so drunk that he couldn't get off the plane on a diplomatic visit. After this incident, some say he is unfit to serve, but I don't believe that at all. Why is that? Although his presidency is riddled with these kind of incidents, I also hear that he's a shrewd man. Thanks for giving me the heads up. I'm sure you will be fine, Mr. President. We're almost at Perla. I will return to my cabin now. I'll see you when we arrive. A few minutes later, with a long whistle, our train came to a stop. I waved to the crowd from the window. Lots of reporters that flocked over were pushed away by the Lespian security guards. We made our way to our cars, and the convoy began its short trip to the Yellow House. Yellow House was situated at the very center of Perla in the middle of a circular park that was off limits to regular citizens. The park was full of roses on small patches. The convoy came to a stop, and I made my way to the entrance. The assistants directed me to a room to wait for Prime Minister Alvarez. I have the option to wait or wait. I will wait. I waited for around 10 minutes, and there was no sign of Prime Minister Alvarez. It was almost time for our meeting. My chair started to feel uncomfortable. I stood up and walked around to look at the various items in the room. The beautiful golden teapot piqued my interest. I will look at it. While I was touching it, the handle broke off on the... I looked around. Thankfully, no one was in the room. Pocket the broken handle. Hide it. Oh, these options are great. Hide it in a nearby plant. What the fuck? The door opened and Patricio Alvarez entered. Although I knew that he was one of the youngest state leaders in the world right now, I was still surprised by how tall he looked at his young age. He was leading one of the strongest countries in Eastern Mercopa. He was holding his head like he had a headache, and he was stumbling. Upon seeing me, he immediately composed himself. We shook hands. He gestured towards the two couches. I'm still laughing about hiding that broken teapot in the plant. Oh. President Rayne, welcome to Perla. Good to have you here. I hear a lot about your success. Good to be here. I hope you had a nice trip. I smelt the strong odor of alcohol. Maybe I should have brought my vice president along. These guys would have gotten along great. I'm not going to say anything. Let's begin. So you were here for a trade deal. What was it about again? Can you remind me? Sortish tungsten in return for Lesbian capital. Very busy. You know, being a president makes you pretty busy. I don't have any issues with this deal, except there's one problem. He smirked. Here we go. Wayland. Your decision to defend the border while Smollett committed war crimes diverted all those refugees to here. Now we have full-blown refugee crisis in Lespia, which unfortunately means that the price has gone up, Mr. Rayne. Makes sense. I knew this was coming, so what's the new price tag? Good intuition. I want the one thing that anyone can possibly ever want out from Wayland. I want their oil. And a lot of oil from Wayland is passing through Swordland, and Sortish Petroleum owns most of the oil trade in Swordland. Do you see where I'm going with this? I do. I want you to sell me Sortish Petroleum. Are you serious? I'm not going to sell you Sortish Petroleum. Holy shit, this is a... These trade deals are really brutal. They're taking me to the cleaners. I cannot do this. What kind of hole have I dug myself into? Nope. They're going to give me a second chance to take this, so... The hell? Alright, fine. Figure if the game's going to give me a second chance to make a decision, I'm probably better off taking it. To the cleaners, I say. My favorite phrase in the world, I accept. How come he didn't offer me a drink? Not a very good host. We Eastern Mercopians should stand together. We shook hands. Speaking of standing together, I want to talk to you about something. We, by we, I mean ATO, which is the Arcasian Treaty Organization, is an intergovernmental military alliance between 14 countries, primarily led by Arcasia. What about it? We would like to see... Oh. Well, this could benefit us. Sounds excellent. What's in it for you? Prosperity in Eastern Mercopia, remedying old alliances, and most importantly, forming a defensive pact against United Contana, which is the Federal Socialist Republic situated on the continent of Contana. Superpower of the world. He clenched his fist and slammed it on the coffee table. Good, we can blame him for breaking the teapot. Those damn communists. We need to stop them before it's too late. Valgsland, those barbarians are preparing to invade Helgeland on false accusations. If Agnolia is first, Swordland will be next. I will be frank, Eastern Mercopia, only way to survival is through ATO, and we need the support of one of the largest players in Eastern Mercopia, Swordland. How about I take you to the cleaners in exchange? The beautiful country of Swordland is the key to all of this. We need you, Mr. Rayne. We need Swordland. Are you with us? Will you defend our continent against the blight of communism? Down with the communists. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to protect Swordland. I can't decide without knowing what's in it for me. Okay, down with the communists. Well said. I hope he doesn't get me into a war. I offer you an alliance. Together we will shield the continent against Melania's evil. Not to mention that you will have Arcasia's full backing, the most powerful ally you can have in this era. Swordland will be allied with Lespia. There we go. So maybe we got economic and military benefit out of this after all. Although we just sold our Swordish oil company. We have a new friend. I will personally talk to Mr. Walker to let him know of this achievement. We shook hands and he went for a hug. I could smell the alcohol on his breath, and he still hasn't offered me a drink. I'm afraid I have to leave now to attend to other matters. Thank you for your visit. On his way to the door, he suddenly turned around. Before I forget, you owe me a teapot. Oh, he smiled and left the room. Yeah. Alright, guy. Fortune, strength, liberty. Steam achievement unlocked. Go me. My playthrough may be a complete disaster, but at least I'm getting Steam achievements out of it. Okay, so let's take a look here at the newspaper. Geopolitico. Swordland Lespia Pact. That's exciting. Swordish government has officially signed a new economic deal and a military pact with Lespia, which brings the two economies closer through an economic partnership agreement as well as their militaries with a new military alliance. The Swordland-Lespia alliance was made official by President Rayne and Prime Minister Alvarez in Perla yesterday. The deal is tailored to benefit both economies, with big benefits to Swordish and Lespian businesses. It includes a strong commitment from Lespia to support Swordland with Lespian capital. It will also bring the militaries of both countries closer together through joint military training and intelligence sharing. According to the pact, both countries will join each other in any defensive wars. This signing marks a new period of close relations between Swordland and Lespia, which will see two like-minded democracies work together as allies. Would have been nice if I got a drink out of it, though. Okay. Let's see what we have to do here in Erloy. Private meeting with Petr Vecturn. It was a dark, chilly evening when Peter called and asked if we could meet. He gave no details. All he said was that it was important. I drove alone through Holsword suburbs until I reached the meeting point he named, 147 Rural Avenue, number 26. Our old campaign headquarters, untouched since the night of the election. This was where everything began. Why do I not have a good feeling about this? I made my way up the dusty staircase of the office building. The light in the second-floor hallway was out, so I used a cigarette lighter to find my way to the wooden door marked 26. I pulled on the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The heavy door had always been a pain to open. And he's there. That's Peter, my vice president. He's a drunk. I'm trying to be a drunk, but don't get the chance to drink that much. Peter pushed on the door with all of his weight and made a screeching sound as it opened. With further ado, I bid you welcome to this grand nostalgia trip hosted by yours truly, Petr Vecturn. He made an exaggerated bow. The dust from the open door was still settling down. I haven't seen this place in ages, my old friend. I miss it sometimes, even that damn door. Come over here, remember this? He walked over to his old desk and pointed to the gramophone, oh my lord, that had annoyed our neighbors and kept us company for so many late nights. Peter flipped the switch and it filled the room with swing music from the 20s. I'll be damned, it still works. What are we celebrating? Life, my friend, life. He put his hand under the desk and brought out a bottle. He took a swig out of it and passed the bottle to me. Drink. That's my boy. Peter snapped his fingers to the music while going through the items in the room. It looked virtually unchanged since election night. Come on, have a look around, see if it doesn't bring back memories. I'm gonna look through my desk drawers. Inside there are a few old coins, pencils, and sheets of paper. Underneath them, something caught my eye. It was a photograph of me and Monica sitting under a tree. This must have been 10, maybe 15 years ago. We looked so young and happy. Monica would love to see this. Nice find. Look at baby Anton. You didn't even have your iconic look. I'm gonna take my picture. Now I get to look through everything else, apparently. Storage boxes. Wrapped safely. Heavy object. It was an emerald-colored statue of a goat, the symbol of Swordland. I remember that this was a gift from Brenda, one of the 53 election campaign assistants. It would look good on my desk at the palace. Brenda, Brenda, Brenda. Always sucking up to you, and where did it get her? Seriously, where? I have no idea where she ended up. I'm gonna leave the statue. Go through the records next to the gramophone. Okay. I found one of my favorite albums ever, Mountains by Janet Gers. A set of plaintive folk songs. Oh my god. What a classic. You should mail that to Frank so he can learn what real music is. okay? Let's talk. I should have just done that in the first place. Kind of curious, though. All in good time, he gestured to the bottle he had in his hand. Drink. Took a very big gulp out of the bottle and staggered to the side afterwards. I know you, Peter. What are you hiding? Nothing. Let's go up to the roof. What? The view is always amazing from up there. We went up the stairs to the roof. The view was mesmerizing. The buildings of Holsword twinkled below us, while the stars shone bright in the sky. We sat and leaned back against a wall, taking it all in. Right as I was starting to get up, I heard a sobbing sound. I turned to Peter and saw tears streaming down his cheeks. Pretend not to notice. What's wrong, dude? I messed up, Anton. I messed up big time. Uh-oh. Evelyn's leaving me. She wants a divorce. I'm not surprised. You're a prick. And a drunk. You two have always had rough patches. I'm sure you'll kiss and make up. And what the hell did you do this time? Try and be reassuring, I guess. It's different this time. I've been sleeping with Livia Suno. Who the hell is that? Who's Livia Suno? Private secretary of me. So my vice president's sleeping with my secretary. All right. You've been what? I know she's your secretary. I'm sorry. Oh. It's just Evelyn hasn't been the same since she lost her job, and Livia was giving me sultry looks from the day I hired her. You were away, I was drunk, one thing led to another. But she's more than just a pretty girl, Anton. She's smart and kind. We really connected. Oh, this is a nice one. I like her too. That doesn't mean I'd break my vows and risk a scandal for a bit of horizontal polo. Alright. I know, but we're ending things. I told her it's too unprofessional, and I want Evelyn back. Well then, no harm done. It's too late, there's a chance. I still can't believe this. I had to have you both fired. Who else knows about this? Nobody, I swear. Well, maybe Lucian, since he knows everything, but you know he'd never spill the beans. There was an edge of desperation in Peter's voice. He took another drink. How many years have we known each other? How many scraps have we gotten ourselves out of? I can handle this, just trust me. I turned to face my friend and vice president. The habits that had gotten him dubbed the bad boy of swordish politics when we were young were no longer so charming, coming from a middle-aged man. Yet he was still a capable politician, and I couldn't ignore our long history together. I'm gonna be loyal to my friend. Prudence tells me I should pick this option here, but I decided at the beginning of this playthrough that I'm going to be loyal to family and friends, and he is my oldest friend, so... anything for my best friend. There we go. Without waiting for his reaction, I left the rooftop alone and made my way downstairs. On my way out, I grabbed my belongings and took one last look back at the office. It had been home to some happy memories for sure, but this visit had permanently cured me of any nostalgia. As soon as I arrived home, I headed up to my study, sat down, and stared at the telephone. I could call... I wonder if I could patch things up for him. Well, I'm not really a marriage counselor. I don't want to gossip about him. But he is my friend, so let's try and patch things up. Anton, it's late. Is everything all right? I told her what I knew about her, Peter, and Livia. Who the hell's Livia? Oh. Okay. He was silent for so long, I think I just accidentally spilled the beans. Yet. That's not my intention. I can't go back and change it either, so might as well go forward. Whatever you have to say, it won't change my mind. Peter still loves you. He was in tears when we talked. Didn't you understand your jealousy could ruin my chances of re-election? He's already ended it. Can you forgive him? Evelyn, please. It was just a harmful flirtation. He still loves you. He was in tears, which is not a lie. You know Peter at all? Really know him? Livia wasn't the first, and she won't be the last. There's always be another beautiful young woman for him to prey on. Prey on? Livia was a willing participant. I don't know which one of these to pick. This could go south real fast. He has a wandering eye. You knew that when you married him. I thought I could help curb his worst impulses, but it obviously wasn't true. Look at whom he goes after. Secretaries, kitchen staff, aides. Remember Brenda? What do they have in common? When the vice president asks them for sex, they might lose their job if they refuse. I'd go to the media about this if I wasn't persona non grata at the Whole Sword Post. And if there was a shred of a chance I'd be taken seriously. But at the very least, I will no longer be an accomplice to his abuse of power. And frankly, Anton, neither should you. She hung up on me. Well, let's go through them all. He picked up quickly. Yes, Mr. President. I told Lucian everything Peter had told me about himself, Evelyn, and Livia. Thank you for calling me, Mr. President. This serves to confirm some suspicions of my own. We have to meet. Tomorrow? Yes, but early, before either of the two arrive. Don't bring this up with anyone else. I fear we may have more than a mere dalliance on our hands. The line dropped. I stared at the receiver, wondering what his last statement meant. What was going on that I did not know about? I went to bed but could not sleep at all. Okay. Government budget decreased. Geopolitical. Valgsland trade sanctions against Swordland. Holy shit. Chancellor Hagel has condemned the military alliance between Swordland and Lespia, calling it a great threat for the people of Eastern Mercopa. He announced that Valgslandian government is readying new sanctions against Swordland, which will be aimed at crippling the Swordish economy. Let's check these real quick. Start of the day at the palace. Let's see, anything from around here. Valgsland sanctions, we'll get that out of the way. Increase of up to 30% of import tax on certain goods, along with the cancellation of military arms sales, medical assistance, and other economic cooperation between our countries. Alright. Taking it to the extreme, I see. The NBC, the National Business Council, issued a warning about the government's budget deficit, which occurred in the third year of the administration. Leadership figures from the private and state sectors brought forward complaints that the country could head towards a debt crisis if the situation is left unchecked. Experts have sounded the alarm about a potential credit rating downgrade if a better balance wouldn't be achieved soon. That's good news. Alright, well, we've got a new day ahead of us. Got some drama to attend to in the Rayne administration. We did get a trade deal, although we didn't really make out very good at it. So, bleak and bleary things are looking. But I'm going to call the episode here. We'll pick it up in the next one and see how things go. If you like the episode, hit the like button. If you'd like to follow along through the rest of Anton's reign as president of Swordland, however long that may last, hit the subscribe button. Leave your thoughts, tips, and advice in the comments below. If you have any suggestions as to how I could proceed to maybe not end my term in a complete disaster, feel free to leave those in the comments section. I take the advice of my viewers pretty seriously, especially if they know more about the game than I do, which, considering this is my first playthrough, you probably do. J76NY saying thank you very much for watching, and have yourself a very good day.